has called. Ron, you've been waiting patiently to make your point. What do you think should happen?
That's okay. I would like to just talk about the House of Lords. Who is the country run by? The people, the country run by. Is it run by the Lords or is it run by actually Parliament? I mean,
I suppose it's both, really, isn't it? It's the House of Commons and it's the House of Lords. But what do you make of the Lords?
Well, because the House of Lords, they're in there, but they're unelected, aren't they?
That's right. They're all appointed.
What's that?
They're all appointed rather than, well, some of them, I think there's 92 of them are hereditary,
It don't seem right, does it? It's not right. And at the end of the day, these people have had their time, they passed their sell-by date, and they really shouldn't really be there. They're getting paid £300 a day to sit in the House of Lords.
Well, you'll be glad to hear, Ron, it's actually gone up to 325.
Oh, it's 325?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That was more than I expected then.
Inflation busting.
Going there. It might probably take them longer to park their Zimmer frames up and get in there.
Well, what about, there was a 30-year-old one recently, a friend of Boris Johnson's, who she worked for him, had been given a peerage as well. So some of them are a bit younger as well.
Well, those younger ones, you'd have a job to find them. And if you went in with a metal detector, you'd never pick them up. You'd have a job to find them. But at the end of the day, they make rules for the rest. They hold up all this sending these asylum seekers to Rwanda. There's these people that are stopping it. At the end of the day, they're most probably sitting in there, falling asleep, passing wind. Most probably stinking the urine.
Goodness me, okay.
They've had their day.
You think they should gracefully retire? Well, there are some thoughts that it should be a mandatory retirement age of 80. Would that help in any way, Ron, or do you just think abolish the whole thing?
Well, most probably. I think there's got to be a cut-off point, isn't it? I mean, they're talking the other day about should drivers at a certain age, at the age of 80, give up their driving licence.
I don't think so. I know my grandmother drove until she was 90. And some people, when they're, some people can be very... Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
Things I've just mentioned to you don't affect me at the moment, so I'm quite happy.
I know what you mean. Well, I mean, there are people who can be perfectly, fine when they're... I think my friend's dad is 91, I think, and he's happily driving away and very safely, whereas there are people who are, a lot younger than that who aren't very good drivers either,
They haven't got the experience.
Well, that's it. Ron, thank you for your call. Really appreciate that. Thank you to Leslie. He says, Hi, Peter. Starmer omitted to mention he defended an Islamic extremist group which had been banned in Germany. That's Hizb ut-Tahrir, which has now finally been banned here in the UK as well. I don't know if he mentioned that in the TalkSport interview. I imagine we're talking far more about sport. But it was a half-hour interview. I haven't seen the whole thing because I've been sitting here while he's been on air, Leslie. So I don't know whether that's the case or not. But I would imagine Hizb ut-Tahrir probably wasn't mentioned during the TalkSport interview. They did mention Rwanda, of course, and that's what Jane's been in touch about. She says, as always, Starmer doesn't get it, but glad the Arsenal shirt gets a mention. Genuine question, has any of the select committee been to Rwanda to see the accommodation, etc.? I don't know the answer to that, Jane. I need to find out, and I'll try to get back to you on that one. But I think the answer is no. I think there's just been the three Home Secretaries, Priti Patel, Sheila Braverman and James Cleverly, who've been out to Rwanda, who are negotiating this. But I would imagine there will be some sort of inquiry from maybe the Home Affairs Select Committee. Let me check that, Jane, and I'll come back to you about that. Leslie has also been in touch to say it's a good idea to support and vote for another party like Reform, but we will end up with Davos-loving Starmer. Times are too dangerous for that to happen, says Leslie. Glen is in Milton Keynes. I think it's immigration you want to talk about, Glen. Is that correct? You're very welcome to the programme.
Hello, mate. How are you doing? All right?
Very well, thanks. Yeah, very well. Hope you're well today. What would you like to say?
I can't believe it, all these people coming over, they stick him in... I only say that because the other day I passed a few homeless people in this weather, and I thought, blimey, something's wrong here. But if they can put all these people in four-star hotels, within weeks we put nightingales, beds up and everything, shelters, etc., it cost us billions. Why can't they do the same and put the people that are coming off the boat in there? At least you've got to keep an eye on them. They're fed, they've got water, toilet, etc., better than the camps they are living in France. But why can't we do that?
Well, I think a lot of people would agree with you in terms of saying, OK, basic standard of accommodation until these people are processed. Are they genuine asylum seekers? Are they not? We don't want to throw them out in the streets, but there are people, like many veterans, like there are people sleeping on the streets in this country, often for very, very complex reasons, and not just because they don't have homes. But I think a lot of people will agree with you, Glen.
Well, we should be looking after our own. I mean, it's so sad. I mean, these boys and girls who probably fought for us and died, look at this and think, they're mugging us off, really, aren't they? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people feel that way. Glen, thanks very much indeed for your point. Really appreciate that.